Alright, what's up everyone, my name is Reacts and welcome back. As you guys can tell by the thumbnail title, the day your eyes did not deceive you, today is the day we rank every single Radiohead album. For the people who do not know, or for the people who are new to my channel, haven't watched my previous videos on Radiohead, this past week I reacted to every single Radiohead album, not including like deluxe editions, so like Kid A, Manassa, and like in Rainbows this too I did not react to. I just reacted to the main albums from Honey Pablo all the way to A Moon-Shaped Pool. I'm actually really excited for this. Sorry for the delay. I was having some technical difficulties. For some reason, it just was not letting me record. Some setting issue that I had. But yeah, other than that, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. It's free to help out the channel a lot. We're actually on our road 3,000 subscribers. But yeah, other than that, enough talking. Let's just get right into this video. I'm actually really excited for this. Alright, so right off the bat, we are starting off with their debut album, which is Honey Pablo. Now, honest to God, Honey Pablo was not that bad. I do think it was a very solid EP with very cool ideas and concepts, but I do feel like it kind of fell flat on a lot of areas because a lot of the songs kind of started merging together and sounding very similar, which made it also sound very generic at the same time. And for a debut album, it's a very good start, but I wouldn't really say the execution was very insane. I don't think it had like an immense execution. I think that it could have had a lot better things going with it, which is why there was only one diamond on that album, out of the whole album, and it had a few mids on there. So yeah, for that, I'm actually going to be putting it at C. Now again, this isn't a bad album at all. It's just not an album I feel like I would return to very often, to even ever, to be honest. Next up, we got their second album, which is The Bends. Now, pretty much what The Bends is, they pretty much took all the negatives from Pablo Honey, got rid of them, and added greatness, which created The Bends. I absolutely love the concepts of this album. I love the vocals on this album. I love practically everything on this album, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I gave almost every song a diamond and possibly one song an emerald. I do not specifically remember, but I'm pretty sure I did give a song an emerald and almost every song a diamond, which is why I'm gonna be putting this at S tier. Now I gotta admit, that's a very big jump in quality, having your first album be a C and then the next album be an S. Honestly, I do love the album, and it's an album that I would definitely return to very often, and since actually finishing this album review marathon, I have returned to this album twice already. Next up, we got OK Computer, their third album. Now, I actually did not react to this during the album review marathon. I actually reacted to it a month prior, which was actually my first introduction to Radiohead, which led to this marathon. I have probably re-listened to this album quite possibly 40 times since release, and given songs like Subterranean, Homesick Alien, and Emerald, and No Surprises an Emerald. So for that, I'm gonna get it an S. I think the concepts, the ideas in this album are so, it's weird because you could tell some bits have aged, but it's aged like fine wine too, you know, even though like the idea of it, because it's about how computers are like taking over the world and with the internet and stuff like that, like the whole point of it being called OK Computer. But I feel like that doesn't change the fact that even though we're so far in the future now since release, it still holds up. It's still one of those albums that hold up perfectly. All the sounds, the lyrics, the production, the vocals, they all hold up in today's times, and honestly are even better than most artists' music in today's time. I feel like there was just this weird amount of quality that was put into these last two albums, especially this album, that really led it to being phenomenal. But yeah, honestly, this is arguably, I'm gonna put it actually ahead of The Bends because I actually prefer it over The Bends. Alrighty, next up we got Kid A. Now with Kid A, alright, you can't have a trifecta without Radiohead apparently, because they're one of the only bands I know that have managed to have 3 10 out of 10 albums in a row, dude. 3 10 out of 10 albums in a row. This album was absolutely phenomenal. I don't even know why I'm wearing headphones. I think the ideas and concepts are very similar to OK Computer in quality wise, which is why I'm going to be putting it at an S. Now, I wouldn't say it's better than OK Computer. I don't prefer it over OK Computer. I do think OK Computer is just a smidge better, but they are still both phenomenal albums, both over 10 out of 10s. Next up, we got Amnesiac. Now, Amnesiac at first listen wasn't an album that I would say I preferred over a lot of the other albums, and I still don't prefer it over the other albums, but I do think that it's a very good album, and it kind of feels like, I don't know if it feels kind of like the opposite of Kid A. I do think the quality of the album is kind of a downgrade from Kid A, the OK Computer, and the Benz, but it's still a very solid album with very interesting ideas and concepts to it, which is why I'm still gonna give it an A. It's still a very highly rated album. Honestly, I don't know what I really gave it. I think I gave it like an 8.9 if I'm not mistaken, but it's still a very good album, and I would 100% listen to it again, or a lot of the songs, not all the songs, but a lot of the songs I would listen to again. Next up, we got Hail to the Thieves. Now, Hail to the Thief was actually a very good album, another album that I felt like I just kind of had to listen to again to kind of just understand what was happening, and after a few listens I did understand what's happening. I still don't think that it's better than the Benz or, you know, any of the other albums, but I still think it's a very great album. It's definitely better than Honey Pablo, and it's around the same level of Amnesiac. I think they're both the same quality. Like, there's a few misses on there, but there's a lot of hits and diamonds and stuff, and some emeralds even. Well, maybe, no, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember if I gave any emeralds. Maybe I have. I don't actually remember, but yeah, honestly, it's a great album. I love it. I would 100% listen to it again. That's why it's also going at A. Honestly, might be higher than Amnesiac. I'm actually gonna put it higher than Amnesiac. Now, next up, we got In Rainbows. Now, In Rainbows came at a major shock to me because I didn't think that it was gonna be better than the last two albums or the albums prior, but it absolutely shocked me on how amazing that album was. It was so good that it got so many emeralds, the most emeralds I have ever given in an album, and the most diamonds. So it was literally not only a full diamond album, but I think it had like 3 or 4 emeralds at the same time too. Like, it literally nailed every single thing it could possibly nail in an album, and it literally hit everything you would ever want in an album. Like, if someone asks, what would you define as an album that is considered art, like the Mona Lisa of music, you would show them this album. And that's why I have to make a new tier called Peak, because that's what it is. It is peak. Now, next up, we got King of the Limbs. Now, King of the Limbs, after second listen, I will say isn't that great of an album. I do think it has a lot of good songs on it. I think the last 4 songs are still very, very well made songs and very great songs, but I do think the top 4 songs or 5 songs are still very lackluster, especially Pharaoh. Pharaoh, undoubtedly their most unlistenable song for me. It is definitely one of those songs that I would probably skip every single time, and that's why I'm probably gonna have to put it at a C for now, because it's not bad, but I think that Pharaoh just brings it down so much a notch, and also the fact that compared to In Rainbows, it is such a huge downgrade that it's not one of my personal favorites, and it's not one of those albums that I would really return to often, if ever. Kind of the same thing like Pablo Honey. But yeah, now we're on the final album, which is a Moon-Shaped Pool. Now, Moon-Shaped Pool, I honestly thought was just gonna be another King of the Limbs. Like, it wasn't gonna be bad, but it was gonna be good. Like, I didn't think it was gonna be a bad album. I just thought it wasn't gonna be as good as In Rainbows or, you know, the 3 albums in S tier. But honestly, it honestly shocked me on how amazing that album is. I think it got an emerald, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember, but I do know the last song did get an emerald, because it literally made me tear up because of how good the song was and how sad it was, and that's why I'm gonna have to put it in S tier also. Honestly, I actually prefer it a little bit over the Benz, so I'm gonna be putting it over the Benz. It's honestly a phenomenal album. I love the ideas, I love the concepts. There's not a single miss on that song, on that album. The Moon-Shaped Pool honestly shocked me just as much as In Rainbow. Well, not as much, because In Rainbow, again, is like a masterpiece album, but it shocked me as much as like the Benz and Kid A. But yeah, that's it. This is my tier list. Now, this is honestly, I think, one of the better tier lists I've had, if not the best tier list I've ever had, because I've never actually had a band have this many albums so high up. Normally, most of them are like B's and A's and C's, and maybe like 1, maybe 2, or like an S. But this has 4 S tier albums and a peak album, right? It has a peak album, dude, and 2 A's and 2 C's. And the 2 C's maybe in the future might grow on me, but after like 1 or 2 listens, they still haven't grown on me yet. I don't know. I have to, listen to them a few more times. But other than that, like, I honestly love this list. I don't know. Let me know what you guys would rank it. I feel like most people will just put these a lot higher. I think people would put King of the Limbs a lot higher, maybe A tier, because I do know a lot of people actually do like this album, but me personally, it's just not something I'm very into. So let me know what you guys think of this. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this album review marathon for Radiohead. I've had such a blast reacting to all these albums. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, consider subscribing. It's free to help out the channel a lot. We're actually on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Go check out my 82R, my Omnier, relief rankings and reviews, albums, EPs, and songs to react to, and also go check out my Instagram, Discord server, my Twitter, and all my other social media links will be in the description. But yeah, other than that, hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.